Hello brothers and welcome to Sigma Old Man channel. The man who masters himself masters the world. Most people spend their lives chasing approval, clout and meaningless titles, but the Sigma male plays a different game. One where he answers to no one but himself. While others are busy trying to fit in, he's silently taking control, operating from the shadows with a mindset so unshakable it leaves people both intrigued and intimidated. Here's a fact. 95% of people follow the herd, even when the herd is running straight off a cliff. The Sigma male, he's the guy watching from the sidelines, sipping his coffee and thinking, yeah, I'll pass on that. He doesn't compete in the same lanes as everyone else. He creates his own. And that's exactly why his mindset isn't just different, it's next level. So what makes him truly unstoppable? What separates him from the noise, the distractions, and the weak-minded? Buckle up, because we're about to break down the GOAT mindset of the Sigma male, a roadmap to unyielding greatness that most will never understand. Number 1. Unapologetic in his greatness. A Sigma male never shrinks himself to make others comfortable. If his intelligence, ambition, or presence makes people insecure, that's not his problem, it's theirs. He refuses to dim his light just because others can't handle the brightness. The world is full of people who play small, downplay their potential, and tiptoe around others' fragile egos. That's not his style. He walks into a room with quiet confidence, not arrogance, but an undeniable energy that commands respect. Some will admire him, others will resent him, but none will ignore him. Society conditions people to be agreeable, to seek validation, and to avoid standing out too much. The Sigma male dismantles that nonsense. He doesn't perform humility to appease anyone, nor does he seek permission to be extraordinary. He knows that self-respect isn't about bragging or boasting. It's about owning his strength without apology. When people try to downplay his achievements, he doesn't argue. He simply continues to succeed. When others attempt to shame him for being different, he doesn't explain himself. He lets his results do the talking. Insecure people will call him arrogant, but arrogance is an illusion projected by those who feel threatened. The difference is clear. Arrogance is rooted in insecurity, needing others to acknowledge worth. Confidence, on the other hand, is self-contained, thriving without external approval. The Sigma male embodies the latter, making him immune to the emotional manipulations that keep most people small. The irony? The very people who criticize him for being too much secretly wish they had his self-possession. They wish they could move through life without constantly seeking validation. They wish they could operate on their own terms without needing a crowd to back them up. He knows this, but he doesn't waste time proving anything. He simply continues to rise, leaving those who doubted him watching in silent frustration. That's the power of an unapologetic mind. Number 2. Mastery over emotion, not suppression. A Sigma male doesn't run from his emotions, nor does he let them run him. He understands that emotions aren't enemies, they're tools. While most people either suppress their feelings until they explode, or let them control every decision they make, he takes a different approach. He acknowledges his emotions, dissects them, and then channels them into something productive. If he's angry, he doesn't lash out or waste time on pointless arguments. He uses that energy to fuel his discipline and sharpen his focus. If he's hurt, he doesn't drown in self-pity. He absorbs the lesson and comes back even stronger. Weak-minded people are either slaves to their emotions or completely disconnected from them. They either overreact, making impulsive choices that ruin relationships and opportunities, or they pretend nothing affects them, bottling everything up until they eventually break. The Sigma male is different. He sees emotions as raw power, but only if wielded correctly. He doesn't let fear stop him from taking action. Instead, he uses it as a signal to prepare more thoroughly. He doesn't allow sadness to paralyze him. He turns it into fuel for growth. Every feeling he experiences is another tool in his arsenal, sharpening his instincts and deepening his understanding of himself. This level of emotional mastery makes him unreadable to those who don't operate on his level. He doesn't overreact, so people can't manipulate him. He doesn't suppress emotions, so he never breaks under pressure. He moves through life with a calm intensity, making his presence both intriguing and intimidating. Some people mistake his control for coldness, but the truth is he feels everything. He just refuses to be ruled by anything. Instead of emotions controlling him, he's the one pulling the strings, and that's why no one can shake him. Number 3. Loyal to principles, not people. A Sigma male isn't loyal to people, he's loyal to principles. In a world where blind loyalty is often mistaken for virtue, he operates differently. He doesn't swear allegiance to individuals just because of blood ties, shared history, or emotional attachment. Instead, his loyalty is rooted in unshakable principles, and if someone violates those, they're out. No second chances, no drawn-out explanations. It doesn't matter if it's a lifelong friend, a business partner, or even family. If they cross a line that goes against his code, he cuts them off without hesitation. Most people stay in toxic relationships, friendships, and environments because of sentimentality. They make excuses for betrayal, tolerate disrespect, and cling to people out of fear of loneliness. The Sigma male sees through this emotional weakness. He understands that principles are what define a person, not temporary emotions or social obligations. If someone proves they can't be trusted, no amount of history will make him overlook it. His logic isn't clouded by nostalgia or guilt. It's simple. If you can't be trusted, you don't belong in his world. This mindset makes him incredibly rare, and sometimes it makes others uncomfortable. They realize he can't be controlled through emotional guilt trips, empty apologies, or half-hearted loyalty. He values integrity over attachment, and that's what separates him from the masses. Some will call him cold, but he sees it as self-respect. He refuses to surround himself with people who compromise his values, no matter how close they once were. The irony? Those who criticize his lack of sentimentality secretly envy his ability to walk away from what no longer serves him. They wish they had the same backbone, the same ability to put principles over emotions. But the difference is, the Sigma male doesn't just wish, he acts. And that's why he never finds himself trapped in situations that weaken him. Number 4. Unbothered by labels and misunderstandings. A Sigma male is a walking contradiction to most people, and that's exactly why they misunderstand him. They call him cold because he doesn't engage in meaningless small talk. They call him arrogant because he carries himself with quiet confidence. They call him antisocial because he doesn't crave constant interaction. None of it bothers him. He knows that labels are just society's lazy way of trying to categorize what it doesn't understand. And the less people understand him, the more power he holds. Most people spend their lives trying to explain themselves, desperately hoping to be seen, heard, and accepted. The Sigma male? He lets people think whatever they want. Their assumptions are not his concern. In fact, their confusion works in his favor. The less predictable he is, the harder he is to manipulate. When people can't figure him out, they don't know how to approach him, how to control him, or even how to get a reaction out of him. And that's exactly how he likes it. There's a unique power in being misunderstood. While others waste time defending their character, proving their worth, or explaining their choices, the Sigma male remains silent, watching as people tie themselves in knots, trying to define him. They project their own insecurities onto him, assuming his silence is judgment, his confidence is arrogance, and his independence is rejection. But none of that is his problem. He knows who he is, and that's all that matters. Ironically, the very people who mislabel him are the ones most fascinated by him. They can't decide if they admire him or resent him. They want to dismiss him, yet they can't stop thinking about him. And that's the beauty of being unbothered. When you don't need to be understood, you become impossible to ignore. Number 5. Refusal to play the fame game. A Sigma male doesn't care about fame, clout, or recognition. While the world is obsessed with being seen, heard, and praised, he operates in the background, moving with precision and intent. He understands a brutal truth. The loudest in the room is rarely the smartest, and those who chase fame are often its biggest slaves. He watches as people exhaust themselves trying to stay relevant, constantly performing for attention, feeding off validation like it's oxygen. But he knows real power isn't in being known, it's in being unpredictable. Unlike attention seekers who crave applause, he has nothing to prove. He doesn't need people to admire him to feel valuable, nor does he seek validation from strangers. If the spotlight doesn't serve his purpose, he steps away from it without hesitation. Some mistake this for shyness or lack of ambition, but they couldn't be more wrong. His ambition is ruthless, it's just not for show. While others are busy flexing their achievements for likes and followers, he's making moves in silence, accumulating influence that isn't dependent on public approval. The most dangerous man is the one you underestimate, the one who isn't on your radar until it's too late. That's the Sigma male. He doesn't announce his plans, he executes them. He doesn't chase opportunities, he creates them. And when he does step into the light, it's on his terms, with a strategy so calculated that by the time people notice, he's already won. The world is addicted to fame, but he knows that real power comes from being untouchable, unknown when it benefits him, undeniable when he chooses to strike. Number 6. Sees weakness where others see strength. A Sigma male has a gift for seeing through the illusions that most people fall for. Society glorifies relentless ambition, endless networking, and being liked by everyone as signs of strength. But to him, these are often just polished forms of weakness. He knows that blind ambition isn't power, it's desperation in disguise. People chase status, burn themselves out, and step over others, not because they're strong, but because they're terrified of being insignificant. He watches them scramble for validation, mistaking external success for internal worth, and he remains unmoved. Then there's the disease of people-pleasing, the habit of molding oneself to fit expectations, saying yes when no is the real answer, and avoiding conflict at all costs. Society calls it kindness, diplomacy, being a team player. He calls it self-betrayal. A man who can't stand on his own principles, who constantly seeks approval, is not strong, he's controlled. The Sigma male refuses to play that game. He values respect over likability, boundaries over blind loyalty, and authenticity over forced connections. And what about networking? The world teaches that the more hands you shake, the further you'll go. But the Sigma male sees the cracks in that logic. Most networking is just masked insecurity, people collecting contacts like trophies, hoping proximity to power will somehow make them powerful. He doesn't waste time in circles that don't align with his vision. If a connection is genuine and mutually beneficial, he values it. If it's built on pretense, small talk, and shallow exchanges, he walks away. While others chase illusions, he strengthens the one thing that can't be faked, his core, his mind, his self-reliance, his ability to thrive with or without external validation. This is why he's unshakable. He doesn't need to prove himself in the ways that society expects, because he's mastered something far more rare, the ability to stand alone and still be unstoppable. Number 7. Dominates through presence, not words. A Sigma male doesn't have to say a word to make an impact. His presence does the talking. While others rely on loud voices, flashy displays, or exaggerated confidence to be noticed, he walks into a room with an energy so self-assured that people instinctively take note. It's not arrogance, and it's not forced. It's the weight of someone who doesn't need external validation to feel powerful. He carries himself with a quiet intensity that makes people second-guess underestimating him. Most people confuse dominance with volume. They think the loudest, most aggressive person in the room holds the most influence. But real power doesn't need theatrics. The Sigma male moves with an unshakable calm that unsettles those who rely on external approval. He doesn't seek attention, yet it finds him. He doesn't beg for respect, yet people adjust their tone around him. It's not about intimidation, it's about presence. People can feel when a man is in full control of himself, when he is internally unshaken by opinions, status games, or pressure. His ability to dominate without words makes him unpredictable. In a world where people telegraph their intentions, overshare their thoughts, and try to prove their worth through constant noise, his silence is unnerving. It forces others to wonder, what is he thinking? What does he know? The unknown makes people uneasy, and that's his advantage. They can't pin him down, and that gives him leverage. The ones who constantly seek attention burn out quickly. The ones who force dominance through aggression create enemies. The Sigma male? He dominates effortlessly, through presence, through control, through the silent respect that only comes from a man who needs nothing from anyone but himself. Number 8. Understands the art of vanishing. A Sigma male understands something most people never grasp. Sometimes the most powerful move is to disappear. Not in a dramatic, attention-seeking way, but in a way that leaves people questioning, wondering, and realizing just how much they took his presence for granted. He knows that growth doesn't happen under constant scrutiny, and evolution isn't something you broadcast. It's something you refine in silence. Most people stay stuck in the same patterns because they're too afraid to step away. They fear being forgotten, replaced, or losing relevance. The Sigma male? He doesn't care. He vanishes when necessary, not out of weakness, but out of strategy. He understands that true transformation happens in isolation. When the world becomes too loud, when distractions pile up, when people start feeling entitled to his energy, he withdraws. He sharpens his mind, refines his vision, and when he returns, he's unrecognizable in the best way possible. His disappearances make people uncomfortable because they're used to constant accessibility. They expect instant replies, predictable routines, and unbroken patterns. But the Sigma male is anything but predictable. One day he's there, observing, learning, adapting. The next he's gone. No explanations, no warnings, no need for validation. His absence isn't an accident, it's a conscious decision to remove himself from anything that dulls his edge. And when he reemerges, he's evolved, stronger, sharper, more calculated. The people who once underestimated him are caught off guard. The ones who took him for granted realize their mistake. His absence speaks louder than words because, unlike most, he doesn't need to be seen to hold influence. He knows that sometimes the greatest power lies in letting people wonder where you went, only to return as someone they never saw coming. Number 9. Intellectual brutality. A Sigma male doesn't just think, he dissects. While others get lost in comforting beliefs and socially accepted illusions, he rips everything apart with raw, unapologetic logic. His mind operates like a scalpel, cutting through wishful thinking, emotional bias, and self-deception without hesitation. This is why talking to him is either a mental awakening or a brutal reckoning. There is no small talk, no sugarcoating, and certainly no tolerance for fragile egos. Most people build their realities on half-truths, assumptions, and emotional narratives. They cling to beliefs that make them feel good, rather than those that are actually true. The Sigma male has no patience for this. If something doesn't hold up under scrutiny, he discards it. If someone is spewing nonsense, he dismantles their argument with ruthless precision. He doesn't argue to win, he argues to expose reality, and that makes people uncomfortable. His intellectual brutality isn't about arrogance, it's about clarity. He refuses to be manipulated by shallow rhetoric, herd mentality, or societal conditioning. He questions everything, including himself. He would rather be painfully corrected than comfortably ignorant. This level of self-honesty is rare, and it makes him dangerous. People fear what they cannot control, and a man who thinks for himself, without emotional weakness, is the hardest to control. Some admire him for his raw intelligence. Others resent him because he forces them to face truths they would rather ignore. He doesn't care either way. He doesn't engage in debates for validation or intellectual superiority. He simply refuses to live in a world of illusions. And if that makes conversations with him unsettling, so be it. The truth was never meant to be comfortable. It was meant to set the strong apart from the weak. Number 10. Views time as his greatest asset. A Sigma male treats time like a billionaire treats money, with absolute precision and zero tolerance for waste. He understands that time is the one currency he can never get back, so he guards it with ruthless discipline. While most people kill time scrolling through distractions, engaging in meaningless chatter, or entertaining people who drain them, he operates with a completely different mindset. Every second is either building him up or pulling him down, and if it's the latter, he cuts it out without hesitation. He has no interest in conversations that lead nowhere, gossip that adds no value, or social events that exist purely to fill a void. If he's talking to someone, there's purpose behind it. If he's watching something, it's either expanding his mind or recharging his energy, never just mindless consumption. This isn't about being robotic, it's about being intentional. He enjoys life, but only on his terms. He knows the harsh reality that most ignore. Wasted time is worse than wasted money because you can always earn more money, but you can never buy back time. This is why people often misinterpret him as cold or distant. They don't realize that he's not ignoring them, he's filtering. He asks himself, does this conversation matter? Is this person bringing value or just noise? Is this activity serving my goals or just killing time? If the answer is no, he moves on. It's not personal, it's just how he operates. And because of this, his life is sharper, cleaner, and more powerful than the average person's. He achieves more in a day than most do in a week because he's not lost in distractions. He's not constantly busy doing nothing. He's deliberate, strategic, and in full control of his time. The world is full of people begging for attention, drowning in wasted hours. The Sigma male? He's too focused, turning his minutes into milestones. The Sigma male doesn't chase recognition. He doesn't seek approval. And he definitely doesn't waste time proving himself to anyone. He moves in silence, thinks with brutal clarity, and executes with precision. While the world is busy competing, he's creating his own playing field. While others crave validation, he's sharpening his mind. And while they waste time, he's making power moves they won't understand until it's too late. His mindset isn't built on trends or external influences. It's rooted in unshakable principles, relentless discipline, and an uncompromising commitment to his own path. He doesn't bow to emotions, but he also doesn't suppress them. He wields them as fuel. He isn't controlled by labels, misunderstandings, or opinions. He thrives in their confusion. And when he disappears, it's never by accident. It's by design. People may call him cold, mysterious, or even dangerous, but the truth is simple. He sees what they don't. He understands that power isn't about being the loudest in the room, but the one who moves with precision while everyone else is busy talking. He doesn't compete because he doesn't have to. He dominates, not by playing harder, but by playing differently. And that is the ultimate power of the GOAT Sigma mindset. It's not about following the crowd or proving anything to the world. It's about mastering yourself so completely that the world has no choice but to respect the force you've become. If this breakdown of the GOAT Sigma mindset hit different, then don't just keep it to yourself. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss content like this. Drop a comment and let me know which part resonated with you the most. Like the video to support the channel. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it with them. Let's keep building a community of sharp, strategic minds who move differently. Stay focused, stay unpredictable, stay Sigma.